Hello, everybody. It's the Carnival Dogs Brewing Company crew here. We have Jacob and Justin. We want to talk about why Carnival Dogs exists. To start at the very beginning, we're going to go to Jacob, and please tell us a little bit about what it took for you to start this process. And then we'll go through how we all kind of joined in and what it took to get here today.
It was 2017, I think, and I didn't really have a creative outlet at the time. And I was working as a bar manager at a local restaurant, and a regular came in and told me he made homemade wine. And during that time, I was really getting into wine and whiskey, and I was learning to pick out certain flavors and profiles, and I thought I'd give that a shot. So I made a Cabernet juice shipped from California, and I learned the fermentation process, and I learned how you make alcohol, how the yeast consumes sugar to create alcohol, all that good stuff. And I kind of fell in love with that process. And I did that a few times. And then I wanted to make my own wine from fresh fruit. So I started dabbling in like blueberry wine and raspberry wine. And that led me to mead and honey. And then I went to cider. And then once I was scratching that itch, I got into distillation, and I started dabbling in that process and making whiskey and tequila. And that's kind of how it started. During that time, when I was making whiskey and tequila and wine, I had a trip to California with Justin and my mom, and we went to Chalk Hill Vineyard, and we got to go through the whole process. We did a tour, and my eyes just kind of opened. I had to do something in this business. Kept doing that for a few years. COVID hit. I was off work for like 6 weeks, and I was at home, and I was making a peanut butter banana mead at the time. And I was thinking to myself, man, I want to do this for a living. At the time, I was talking to another partner, and we were thinking about opening a distillery at the time. We were coming up with game plans and how we're going to open it up. We talked to Tristan about joining us, and that's kind of when the beer side took over. Tristan was going to make the beer, and then I was going to make the tequila and the whiskey, and that was the original premise. And then we had our first team meeting in the summer of 2020, and then things shifted fully towards making beer. The short and sweet of it.
When Jacob and our original partner came to me and talked about a distillery, they said, "You don't want to be a part of this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great. I love distilled products as well." But it just so happened, unknowing while they were having their discussions with themselves, I just got a cheap little beer kit online, and I said, Jacob was making wine. I'm like, I'll make some beer. That'll be fun. And I made the first beer, and it was terrible. It did not turn out at all. Once I got the kit, I had this idea in my mind of a brewery concept. So I've been in the restaurant business for 30 years now, and I've always had these different restaurant concepts that I would think about from time to time, year to year. So they came to me, and I'm like, I have this brewery concept kind of centered around music. What do we want to name this brewery? I always thought if I had a band, my band would be called Carnival Dogs, which is a line from a Doors song. Well, I'm in my 40s, I don't have a band yet. Let's take this band name. So we became Carnival Dogs Brewing Company. Like Jacob said, we were kind of wanting to be a distillery and a brewery. And then once we started thinking about how long it takes to sell a distilled product compared to a brewed product, you have to wait years to sell a distilled product, or at least an aged distilled product, where a brewed product was typically ready in about 6 weeks. So eventually we just kind of transformed fully into the brewery side of things.
And I kind of took over the role of making the beer fully. And it wasn't something that I planned on. But in that process, I realized that I had way more creative control in making beer than I did anything else. And I really fell in love with it more than I loved anything else I was making. It was during that time when I took over the reins on making the beer, because in the beginning, you were going to be the brewer, and you kind of took over your role with the marketing brain. And that's kind of how, because it was a slow burn on how we found our roles.
Yeah. I was going to be the brewer. And then once we transformed fully to brewery, me, Jacob, and our original partner, we're all three going to be brewers. We kind of had an aspiration to be a really big brewery. And going through this whole process over the last few years, we really decided to downsize and be a smaller brew pub. We knew that we couldn't have 3 brewers. And Jacob had stepped down from work like a year and a half prior to me, maybe 2 years. Once he dove headfirst into the brewing process, he just took off. And then one night we were hanging out, and we thought about a new style of beer we wanted to make. And simultaneously, Jacob's brain went immediately to recipe development. How does he want to make this recipe? And my brain went right to the marketing side of it. What are we going to call it? What's the image of this beer going to look like? How are we going to sell it? Once we really figured that out, it worked out perfect that our roles became defined in 2 different areas that really complemented each other.
Throughout my shift at work, I could not stop thinking about recipe development and how I'm going to come up with the grain bill and the hops and the yeast. I couldn't stop, and I was talking about it all day with you, and you were thinking about names, how we're going to sell it, and the label. And it was at that point I'm like, okay, I think I need to step down because my brain won't shut up, and I need to really focus on this brewery and start making recipes.
So Jacob and I had wanted Justin in his artistic skills this whole time. We wanted him to join us, but we knew we couldn't get him because he was doing his thing.
I was kind of getting burnt out of traveling all the time from the north to the southern part of the country. I just realized I wanted to just design, be creative, and not
be a retail guy.
Jacob came up to North Carolina from Florida for Thanksgiving. We went out to some breweries in Asheville, North Carolina. We were sitting at Wicked Weed. Jacob was discussing beer profiles and the brewing process and flavoring and all the science, and I was blown away. His passion and knowledge got my brain working. I went back to work and I didn't feel like I wanted to do it anymore. I was already feeling a little burnt out in the industry I was in. I thought, I really feel like I'm wasting my time. If you work for a company, you have to believe in what you're doing. I was losing that belief. So I walked outside after a storm. I sat outside and I texted.
I remember I was on a bike ride and I stopped and I looked at the text. I made a loud noise of excitement.
I think I made a giddy little scream myself.
You were exactly who we wanted to build our labels and be our marketing guy, because we loved your image and we loved your vision. We've known what you could do for years, and you were like the best case scenario. So I think that's truly when we started making strides on getting this company up and going, was when we joined.
It's your artistic style that we've always been a fan of, the dark, vibrant.
It's evolved a lot. I don't think necessarily it was me coming on board and designing. I think it was more about the three of us are actually coming together to make something greater than ourselves. When you start seeing visual ideas, Tristan and Jacob have been working together doing this, and now they have another head. Technically, me coming on board, I think, was just breathing a new kind of life into what you were already doing. The same thing would have happened if me and Tristan were doing it, and you were the one who texted us. It was the third person that was really needed.
You were a missing piece of the puzzle for sure.
Yeah.
We have the brewer that makes the beer. We have the person that can run operations and has the ideas for the names and the overall vision. We need someone to put it together, our ideas out there, so people could see them.
Now I get to design. Now I'm doing video editing, which, that's at first, sit in front of a computer and clip.
Gotta do sound effects.
Now that I'm doing it, it's a blast. You guys do the stuff I don't want to do. All the financial and the boring legal. Like, we're doing this meeting today. I'm like, I really wish I could be a part of it. I started with the business plan. Tristan had already done an outline. I just volunteered to do it. So I turned our couple pages into, I think it ended up being 90.
We worked on that for years.
Yeah.
We had 42 revisions
That's ridiculous.
at one point.
There's even more than that, because I have versions in my personal files that aren't on the drive. So you did our logo first before you really joined us. Thought you did Sunshine Superman was like your first official project after joining.
The business plan was the first thing I did.
Okay.
I needed to get in the head of the personification of Carnival Dogs to really understand. Actually writing about who we are was very weird. Because I've written business plans before for other companies. I've never written one that I was involved with.
You took on to our identity very quickly. Pretty much as soon as you came on board, you pretty much knew what we were looking for, what we wanted, the style we were going for, what we were all about for the beer we were making, the image we were projecting. It seemed very simple.
Both of you are when you speak, you are very visual. You explain things in a way that I can visualize what it should be. Both have your masteries of what you're doing. Mine is, what aren't we?
Jacob and I have really ramped up our brewery visits, try to go to a brewery or two or three, whether we're going to St. Pete or Tampa, North Carolina, Fort Lauderdale, wherever we go, we try and hit up some breweries. For years now, every time we go to a brewery, we're constantly looking around. We look at the kitchen setup. What's the bar look like? How many stools do they have? What's their image? What's the soul of the brewery? What do we like about them? What do we not like about them?
How many taps do they have? What works? What doesn't work? Something that works in North Carolina might not work in Sarasota, Florida.
This process started in 2017, really. It took us almost a decade, really, to refine the process, what we want to be, how we want to be, and now we're ready to bring it all to life.
I can't say it better. It's been a decade, and we've evolved to become exactly who we want to be. We've changed a lot in the last 10 years. And we really got to fine-tune these skill set to be a professional brewer, and we needed that time.
Thanks for watching. I hope you found the content informative. If you'd like to invest, please see the WeFunder page. If you'd like to see more content that we've put out, please visit our YouTube channel. Justin, what is that channel?
YouTube.com. Carnival Dogs Brewing Co. Oh, you know what? Let's put it at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, wonderful. And, that's all for now. Thanks for tuning in, and hail to thee.
Cheers, everybody.
And remember, drink outside the box. Do you want to say before I end it?
Nope.
Nope.
Any soliloquies?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't know what soliloquy means.
That's going to go in.
That's all for today. Catch you next time, and cheers.
Drink outside the box.
Bye-bye.
You're supposed to say hail to thee.